the church is aware about sabbaticals, and they also have a task at hand.
Yeah, talk a little bit about what's at least envisioned. Now, when you wrote this, or when you were approved with the grant, and when we all put it together, of course, we didn't know about my transition.
Correct.
And so, but we've talked, and we think those two things can dovetail really well together. But anyway, go ahead and speak about that.
There are definitely some things that are interchangeable. There's two things that are really guiding my time away, and that has to do with kind of the Americanization of Christianity that we are all experiencing. And so I think there were two books in particular that have guided my thought process. One is Miguel de la Torre's book, Decolonizing Christianity. I think there may be some aspects that the anti-racism team can help the church look and think about itself through that particular lens. But the majority of the work that I think the church can do in my time away is guided by kind of a book and a resource called The Slow Church Movement. And the Slow Church Movement is about cultivating community in a patient way. A lot of the philosophy about slow church movement comes from slow foods and other slow movements. And so, while here in the United States, the tendency of our businesses is about turnover rate, how many people I can get into the space, how quickly I can get them through that, and then out, and then the next person. And so, we see the parallels between that industry and that business and churches, right? How do we develop space? How do we attract ourselves to people? How do we get people in? How do we move people out? Multiple worship services. It becomes kind of the same type of rhythms that the industry has. And so the slow church movement years ago, or slow foods movement years ago, started looking at food and the restaurant experience as more of like an individual personal experience, meaning it's not about the turnover, it's about the person who has entered in there and about them. It's about caring for them. It's about making sure that they enjoy their space and their time. And it's kind of the slow, right? And also it's about, the food, meaning, where the food is coming from, the person who's supplying the food. So it's about the relationships you build with the farmer and the grower. You're not over farming. You're not, when it comes to the meat, you're not overproducing animals. It's enough, right? There's an abundance, but there's enough things that help. And so it's meant to help us rethink. It encourages the church to examine how we have embraced a culture of unreflected speed, dehumanizing efficiency, and disintegrating isolationism. And so, as a church that's going through a transition and thinking about its future, I think it's an opportunity, at the moment to like slow down and kind of think about where it's at. And the hope is that as I am slowing down, as I am processing my time, as I am experiencing the world in a much slower lens, and not to say that, I think if people are not aware, like being a pastor isn't always 24/7, you're on the go. There are moments like that, depending on, the life of the church, but there are moments where there are, down times. And so as I'm slowing down, as I am being reflective, it's an opportunity for the church to do the same thing. And then when we get back together, we kind of share in that experience. And I think one of the things that we had talked about is to have some food sessions or some moment sessions where we talk about specific things in small groups. I maybe do a demo. I do some things to kind of talk through those kinds of experience. And so, that's kind of the hope in that process.
Yeah, but it does seem like, this interim period, as we've been talking about, is in a sense a way, just in itself, a kind of a pause or not that we stop doing the things we're doing, but it's a change in the rhythm, and it is an opportunity for self-reflection. And so, it seems like the the approach to reflection that's the slow church movement, could enhance the interim period, or just give us a way to convene some of those conversations that we know are going to be really important over the next year.
Yeah.
Sounds like a wonderful time for you and also for the church.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember when I was hired, and as you're looking through your information, your contract, those things you sign, after 5 years sabbatical, you're like, I'm never gonna get there.
Yeah.
And then you realize, I think it was when you went on your last one, I was just about to start my 5th year.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I've actually made
I've made it.
Like, this is a possibility.
Right.
Yeah.
And you'll start it right at your 6th anniversary.
Yes,
You'll
my
have been
6th
here
anniversary.
6 years.
6 years, yeah.
When you start your sabbatical. So.
And for those, part of the process of being getting a grant like that from Clergy Renewal is also a commitment to the church that you would stay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it isn't that you get a sabbatical and then you're gone. Right.
Yeah.
It's the whole point is you stay, and what's your commitment to the church after that look like?
Right.
So,
yeah, and just to go back to, you mentioned this, that there is some funding in the grant for when you're going to be gone to employ somebody or somebodies to cover the work that you do on a regular basis.
And so I'm working with my PRC, my Pastoral Relations Committee at the moment, to kind of develop a job description of what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are working on that currently. And as you said, we could be looking for one person to do specific work, and then maybe a second for something else.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that flexibility.
Yeah.
And so it works well, because in the summertime it is slower months.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a lot of planning,
Mm-hmm.
but before I leave.
Right.
A lot of work that needs to be done before I leave, and that's going simultaneously, currently. So yeah, the church will be in good hands.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll have the persons we need to help in this particular process. So.
Yeah, we're all going to be okay.
Yeah, we're gonna be all right. Well, I really appreciate the conversation, and we are. I won't speak, but I'm hopeful. That our transparency and our conversations help you process what's happening at Central, and know that we do this out of love for the community, to make sure that you all know where we're at during this transition time. So until you see the next videos, we'll see you soon.